Welcome everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Fernando Comics. I want to start things out by giving a huge thank you to Howard Townsend and Chris Cyrus, my loyal friends and patrons. That helps me keep going as a channel, so thank you very, very much, guys, honestly. So today's topic, if you guys can tell from the video and the description, is Worldbreaker Hulk versus Rune King Thor. The idea was formed a long time ago in the comments of multiple videos, but I never gave it much thought because it really is a bit one-sided. That said, there's plenty that can be talked about. You know, for all the grief I give the Hulk, I feel as if I hold this version of him in pretty high esteem, at least more than most people do. And there also seems to be a little bit of confusion about what is considered Worldbreaker Hulk. Not just for your average comic reader / YouTube scanner, Screw Attack / Death Battle, they said that the Sentry fought Worldbreaker Hulk, when Worldbreaker Hulk's first appearance came after that fight, when Rick Jones was stabbed by Meek. Basically, if he's glowing and the ground is shaking, it's Worldbreaker Hulk. Anything other than that, though, is not Worldbreaker. And the difference in their power really is big. There is no comparing World War Hulk to Worldbreaker Hulk. Now let's talk about what makes Worldbreaker Hulk so overwhelming to most opponents. I want you guys to visualize this. Think of the world's strongest man body slamming the second world's strongest man as hard as they can. Next to them is an ant on a pedestal. Do you think the ant would die from the shockwave? Probably not, right? Now think about the sheer magnitude of Hulk's feat during Heart of the Monster. When Hulk entered the Dark Dimension and slammed into Betty Ross, aka Red She-Hulk, he broke an entire planet, shredded an army of mindless ones, and killed 3 high-end opponents, Armageddon, Bybeast, and Wendigo, from the shockwave of his attack. All 3 of those characters have fought evenly with the classic version of Hulk, defeating him sometimes, so they're pretty tough. Then you need to take into consideration everything else that comes with Worldbreaker status. Besides obviously being incalculably stronger, he's super extra durable. He heals even faster, which, to give you an idea of how tough that it is to kill him, his persona right before Worldbreaker Hulk is already capable of surviving and healing shots that punch clean through him, like when Zom Strange punched right through his spine and he caught up and beat him half to death right after. So he's essentially immortal. All in all, you have a character who could pretty much physically dominate anyone who isn't a Skyfather. Seriously, he'd beat up Thanos and take his lunch money before making fun of him for wearing the same suit since he was a kid. A guy who can heal from anything for the most part, gets stronger as the fight progresses, and is super fast and durable. A truly walking gamma bomb. Now let me explain why he's going to lose. I once had a debate where I got to pit power versus versatility. I used the Hulk and my opponent used Magneto. It sounded good on paper, I had feats that should be able to do the job, and then I found Hulk stranded in the middle of the air, having the iron in his blood giving him a stroke. Granted, I didn't get to use the Worldbreaker, but this is not different. Rune King Thor is Thor at his peak, essentially. The only other versions of Thor I could see competing with him would be Necro King Thor or Phoenix King Thor, and they're both recent iterations created by Jason Aaron. Rune King Thor always has shields on, and shields are capable of transmuting Surtur enchanted Uru hammers into normal wooden sticks. So you hit the shields, and your molecular structure gets turned into something different. So attacking him head on, which is the only type of attack Hulk is capable of, could truly end it disastrous for Hulk. He'd get his molecules rewritten into something else. But he is the Hulk, logic tends not to apply to him. So let's say he can't be transmuted, and to be fair to him, his healing factor mixed with some other feats he has suggests that he could be able to survive this type of attack, like a transmutation type of attack. What you need to understand about Rune King Thor is that he's not at all like his previous versions, like the one we know and love, your typical hammer wielder Avenger. Thor paid the price with both his eyes to gain wisdom beyond Odin. He's far and away smarter and wiser than any previous version of himself. So he can basically see the right choice of attack right from the get-go. In this case, there's no "but what if he goes physical?" because that's retarded. Thor, even only as King Thor, without full control of the Odin Force, can casually remove the head of destroyer-powered Desak, who is imbued with the power to be immune to the magic of the gods. So it's not supposed to be able to hurt him, and yet it cleaves his head right off regardless. But that's only a physical option. It would undoubtedly remove Hulk's head, or at the very least cause stunning damage. But there are other things he can do that are much quicker and much more effective, and probably more what you want to hear about. Rune King Thor is well remembered for being able to rip out Mangog's soul. So Mangog is the compilation of a billion beings, and Thor casually contained and released his soul. Mangog was weakened, but that's still a soul-tampering feat on a level way higher than what Hulk can deal with, given that he does not have the feats to support that he can survive an assault on his soul from such a high-level opponent. If Thor was really petty, he could just use the Odin Force to wish away the Hulk from existence. It's an attack that would have worked on Desak, but Desak was immune to magic again. He was able to weather it without much issue, but Hulk does not have that liberty. He would be affected in a way that Desak was not, and he would be gone from the fight almost instantaneously. But even with all of this on top of what was already mentioned, Thor has a very, very simple plan of attack that could end the fight. And is why I've never really given this much thought, is because I know how easily that this would be over. Thor can just wave his hand. I know it sounds simple, but Thor has stopped time by waving his hand. Hulk has had some feats in the past that have given him resistance to temporal attacks, but never on the level of someone who can manipulate time like Thor can. He's got the Odin Force, he's got the runes, he's got more wisdom than Odin, and he could easily stop time at the very least enough to pull out his soul, to pull off his head, to rip out the gamma radiation from his body, to dump him into a star, to dump him into a black hole, to just blast him to pieces, considering he's got galaxy busting power by this point. There really isn't much that Hulk can do, and even if you want to make the argument that, well, he's not going to be standing there to let him do that, he can be jumping, doing whatever he wants. He'd need to get past shields of a Skyfather, more precisely a Skyfather who's gone beyond Skyfathers. You need to be able to do so before Thor decides to simply levitate him into the air and keep him there, and that really is the end of the fight. There's nothing he could do. Thor has too many one-shots, too many instant kills that are essentially uncounterable for this to be a real fight, guys. This isn't a diss on Hulk. Hulk is still incredibly powerful, and there's so much that he could do against lesser opponents. This is not one of them. So Thor easily and resoundingly crushes him. But it's still fun to talk about with you guys. I hope that no one took that too personally. And thank you guys for the video idea. Maybe we'll do this more often. We can always chat about our disagreements. And if you guys think I mixed something up or botched it, please tell me. We can talk about that in the comments. But for now, thank you everyone. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have a moment and you haven't subscribed already, I would really highly suggest subscribing. Definitely tell me what you thought, and we will keep in touch. Alright, talk to you later everyone. Bye.